and welcome back to the Larry Hembree pregame show. I'm talking this evening with 1969 St. John graduate Jack Trout with him in his home in Sellersburg, Indiana. And how are you this evening, Jack?
I'm doing real well, Larry. Thank you.
Jack, you graduated in 1969. Why don't you tell us some of the ball players you had on that team that year?
Oh, that team consisted of John O'Malley, Bill Ward, my brother Jim Trout, Kenny Arvin, Randy Bradley. That were, the starters and the main players. Richie Arvin was on the team along with Mike Lannon. And that's about all I can think right now of.
Well, some of those guys, of course, went on with the consolidation in 70, but you say your brother Jim was on that team. Jim talks that he could take you one-on-one pretty easy. Do you ever remember it that way?
Oh, not at the time when we were both in good shape. I don't quite remember it that way.
Well, it's funny how the mind kind of gets a little changed around, doesn't it, as you get older. Of course, Jim played up here in the 70-75 ball game. He looked like he stayed in pretty good shape. But anyway, you guys had a undefeated season for St. John's that year. Is that the only undefeated team St. John's had in their history?
Yes, I believe it is.
What do you remember most about that season, Jack, as far as going 20-0?
Just the enthusiasm, the team togetherness. It was just like a big family, and it was really disappointing when it ended, but in the process of everything happening, it was just an unforgettable experience.
Of course, do you remember your last game you ever played? I've asked that a lot of people. They kind of remember that last minute when their high school career was finally over.
Oh, yeah, I definitely still recall that against North Davis in the sectional. It was, definitely a letdown and something that we weren't expecting. But as basketball, everybody knows in basketball, anything's possible. And North Davis had an exceptional team that year, and things just went their way that afternoon.
I believe that was the first year of the North Davis consolidation as well, wasn't it, 1969?
Right, that was their first year.
Right. I'm speaking with 1969 St. John graduate Jack Trout with him in his home in Sellersburg, Indiana. Jack, your coach that year was former Loogootee ball player Junior G. What was he like to play for?
Oh, he was great. He had the experience and the intelligence, and he knew how to get it across to the players and make them just give 110% for him. And he was an excellent coach, and I still talk to Junior occasionally when I see him, and we're still good friends. Now,
when Junior coached, did he like to get out on the floor and play with you guys some?
Definitely.
Was he still pretty tough in 1969?
Oh, he was extremely tough. And I had an experience in college when I talked with Rick Berry, who told me that he couldn't understand why Junior did not go pro, because he personally thought Junior was good enough to take the next step. So Junior was definitely real tough.
Well, I watched an interview one evening on ESPN with this Roy Firestone, and Rick Berry was being interviewed, and he'd mentioned that he thought Junior G might have been the best passer he'd ever seen play the game.
Yeah, Junior definitely knew what to do with the ball. There's no doubt about that. If it wasn't putting it in the hole, it was getting it to somebody that was open so they could.
Jack, what position did you play for the St. John Eagles?
I was center, and my brother Jim was about the same height, but I had a little bit of size on him weight-wise, so I usually took the beatings inside and tried to control that area under the bucket.
I'm speaking with 1969 St. John graduate Jack Trout with him in his home in Sellersburg, Indiana. Jack, you might mention who your parents are and some of your relatives up this way so people can kind of, in case they don't know who you are, they can kind of get a feel for how you're tied into Loogootee.
All right. My mom and dad is Jack Trout, Mr. and Mrs. Jack Trout. They still live in Crane. My brother Mark, he and his wife Carla live in Loogootee. Carla is a teacher there in the Loogootee system. I have another younger brother named Jeff who lives just outside of Crane in Scotland and works up on the government base there at Crane. And that's the only blood relatives that I have, other than some cousins. And, I've have a sister in Colorado, but she's kind of out of the picture right now.
Jack, I actually called your father to get your number, and I thought I was talking to you when I called, so I started the interview with him, and I asked him when he graduated, and he said 1941 up in Brazil, and he proceeded to tell me a little bit about his basketball career, so I had an enjoyable chat with him. When you graduated in 1969 and moved on, why don't you fill us in kind of what you've been up to these some 30-plus years later?
Well, I played some college ball at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. Didn't graduate, but I moved back to the Indiana area from Dallas. I worked in a couple of jobs. The last was with the Indiana State Board of Health. I was an inspector with them, but due to some back trouble that I've experienced over the past 10 or so years, I've had a few back surgeries, and I've had to retire from work and try to just get by the best I can right now. So my wife and I live in Sellersburg, Indiana, and we're extremely happy. And other than just not being able to do what I did in the past, I still have an enjoyable life.
I'm speaking with 1969 St. John graduate Jack Trout. Well, Jack, if you could go back and do it all over again and play high school basketball at St. John's, is it something you think you would do again?
Oh, my. Try to score 5 more points, I guess, in that North Davis game, considering we lost by 4. But my high school experience was just amazing, and it's nothing but good memories.
Well, Jack, of course, everybody likes to talk about what if they'd have consolidated 1 year earlier, because even though Loogootee was extremely strong with the consolidation in 70, many think that they might have even been stronger in 69 had they made the consolidation that 1 year earlier. I'm sure you've been asked that question.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the most popular questions that I hear when I come up to watch some of the Loogootee games. And there's a possibility that we could have done extremely well. You never know. I do know that there were some ball players who wouldn't have been able to have played if it would have just been one team. So that point there, at least it let some other athletes get out and enjoy themselves and play some basketball. But it's hard to second-guess something like that. But all I can do is just remember what I have and enjoy that.
Well, it's amazing, really, the amount of quality ball players that both schools put out during that time for a school the size of Loogootee. I look back at that, and you look all through the 60s, and St. John's, Loogootee both had strong teams. Just amazing how a small town could produce that many good basketball players.
There's no doubt. That is one thing that Loogootee is known for, is its basketball. And it seemed like that was just the number one sport going, and people, especially the young boys, they thrived at that, and that was their dream, to play out there on either the St. John's or the Lions courts and do their best for their hometown.
Well, we've been talking with Jack Trout of Sellersburg, formerly of Loogootee, graduated from St. John's in 1969. And, Jack, we really thank you for taking the time to spend with us tonight. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there tonight listening that will be glad to have heard your voice again. Well,
I appreciate the phone call, and if I can ever be of assistance again, don't hesitate to give me another call.
Jack, good luck to you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.